Hi, this is Care Hart and the Disabled Artists Foundation. We have in the Disabled Artists Foundation, we have Hartists, which that actually is a noun. That means this is a disabled individual, or what we like to say, a differently abled individual who receives free art supplies from the Disabled Artists Foundation and qualifies financially in order to do so. I mean, it's not like we're out there sending art supplies to millionaires. We do have criteria for those we send to. But with all of that aside, one of the things that happens often is artists will give back, and one of the ways they give back is with artist trading cards. Well, some people say, what are artist trading cards? Well, what I'm going to do, good morning, Mindy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to share with you a bunch of artist trading cards made by artists. And I'm not going to share with you who made them because they keep their names a secret most of the time. And it's their choice to share who they are, no one else's. So let me share with you how these were made to give you an idea. And I might be guessing on some because in some cases it may not be a stamp, it's just how the page was done. Or it might be a printable, but looks to me like it's something else, but at least gives you an idea of what an ATC or artist trading card is. First, it's 2.5 inches across and 3.5 inches down. It's about the size of a playing card. And then on the back side, which let me see if I can show you this one. I can. On the back side, it'll sometimes show you a title, like this says, hats off to you for your donation. And then a name, Hartist AZ450, that's the Hartist code. And then here you have date, October of 2020, info, thank you, dAFi. Isn't that sweet? So in the Hartist trading card packs, we don't always provide this. So if Jean Peter makes the pack, she provides this. If I make the pack, I don't put the thing on the back. I mean, I don't print out those digis to put the thing on the pack. But we often will provide you different things in the pack. My next pack going out to a bunch of folks looks like this, right? And the little baggies, a bunch of things they can embellish with it. We have a couple of markers, a few paintbrushes because they're getting paints. There's a stack of 2.5 by 3.5 pieces of paper, and they come from magazines, cardstock, scrapbook paper, coloring pages. There's glue. Now, remember that if you're using paint, do you know that you can actually stick down some of these embellishments, paper embellishments, with paint as well? On the back side of this one, there's some fibers. And if they want to, they can even rip up that little bag because everything is art and can be applied to your ATC card because I think the paper on this little bag is cute, right? So this is part of what's in the kit. I mean, besides the paint that goes with it. And let me take you through all these ATCs. And that's just one kind of kit. They don't always look the same. Pretty much every time I make an ATC kit, it looks different. The only thing that's the same is you're going to get a stack of 2.5 by 3.5 inch pieces of paper for you to start your ATC. In this case, the person used a metal piece that goes in the middle of their flower, and their flower feels like a paper flower. Then this is a magazine image of a guy or a book image of a guy. This looks like something randomly stamped on a book page. And I might bore you to tears looking at these, or you might feel so inspired looking at these. This one is 3 little punches. You know, if you don't know what a punch is, let me show you real quick what a punch is. And then there's a magazine page of a fish, a book page in the background, some washi tape right there. What's washi tape? This is washi tape. We have some new artists who are brand new to craft supplies, and I will show you. This is what I mean when I say it's a punch. If some of this terminology is brand new to you, that's okay, because you'll learn as you go, or you should feel comfortable asking questions. What does the punch do? Basically, you put it over the top of a piece of paper. Let me get a piece of paper here. You put it over the top of a piece of paper, it slides in, and when you squeeze it, I lost my heart. Now I'm singing I lost my heart in San Francisco. You get whatever the little punch is. That's why it's called a punch. Okay. Well, I don't know if it's why it's called a punch, but anyway, so these little spiral things are little punches, the little fish, the book page in the background. Looks like she painted the background with different colors. There's little circles right here. So her background is painted and stamped. So this one has lace behind the flower and the metal piece. And the card itself looks like it's a printable layered on top of a playing card. This lady, look at this. We have this lady twice. How cool is that? So on this lady right here, she's little and big. She's a cutout of a little lady with some cool little saddle shoes, right? So this is a piece of fabric right here, a piece of lace, another piece of lace, a bit of lace behind her flower. It looks like she painted the background. And here that she definitely painted the background. Look how wild and cool her paint is. I love it. Absolutely love it. She's got a piece of paper that looks like it's right here behind the lady as if she's sitting on that piece of paper. And then all the crisscrosses and the lines that go through it. And then she's got a little bit of bling right up at the top. Yes, don't look at my fingers because just like some of you, I deal with anxiety too. So no bad mouth in my fingers. So you have this butterfly. This is a sticker. Stickers are allowed. These are also things that you can pull off and use as stickers. I call them bling whenever you have stuff like that. This right here, this background doesn't feel painted. Looks like it's cut from a book page, and a very stiff book page at that, or it's layered on top of another piece of paper. So how cool is that? Some stickers, some fun pieces, and stuff layered on top of another piece of paper. Here, this is red tulle and yellow tulle with a little piece of metal. This is a circle that's 2.5 inches in diameter. You can tell because the card's 2.5 inches wide. And then she stamped the edges. Almost looks like she inky stamped it. So she used her stamp with it's just a cool texture, so maybe it's not a stamp. Maybe she just inked the edges. And then there's paint in behind that. How fun is that one? Here she has die-cut butterflies, die-cut flowers, 2 pieces of washi tape, and then she did the background first with some circles that she stamped with something. And everything can be a piece of art. Like for instance, when I'm done with this washi roll, you can guarantee that that little wooden piece on the inside, the cardboard on the inside of my washi roll, is going to be a stamp. I'm just going to use it in an ink pad and then stamp it to make perfect little circles on smaller things. Art supplies are everywhere you look. Here, she used washi tape and blingy stickers. Then she hand wrote the word peace, love, and joy. And then the background is her painty papers, which when I say painty papers, it just means she put paint on paper and it's her beautiful art background. Don't be afraid of making painty papers, and that's a great base for when you're making your art. So you have this little cutout of a little boy. So for those of you who are really good at fussy cutting, we can always use fussy cuts because we have more folks now in the foundation that have dexterity challenges. So fussy cutting things out like this little boy would be very difficult for them. Well, she put the flower right behind his little head. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a little girl. Oh my goodness, it's a little girl. Aren't they fun? So Clara, I'm walking through and I'm showing folks examples of what ATCs are for those who don't know what they are, and it's a great way to start on a tiny mixed media canvas. On the top, it's either blingy washi tape. Isn't it funny that I can't tell you? That might not be. It seems to be wrapped around the edges. Let me see if I can see the back. Yep, it's blingy washi tape. And painted background. Here, another painted background. And you can see, I love the composition of this one. And when I say composition, I mean it's how they placed their images, right? So let me see if I can find a sample. So like when you take a photograph, do you see how both of these are in the middle? I totally agree. I think they're so awesome. And they're all made by Hartists too. So the subject is in the middle, the thing that is your focal point, what you're looking at. And then this one here draws you from the right and brings you to the subject. Isn't that nice how it does that? I like when something takes you from a corner into your focal point. Here, it brings you up from the bottom into the focal point. Does that make sense? And in both of these cases, they used a background of hand-painted papers. This person on her background of hand-painted papers has a layer with a book page, a layer with paper bag. So, you know, like when you go shopping and you go to the grocery store and they give you paper instead of plastic, or maybe your sandwich bag is made out of paper. That's what this is. And she inked it with brown ink. Then she has her pretty little lady in the middle. But underneath the brown paper bag and above her book page is a book page with a sunflower on it. Isn't that cool? It's just layered really pretty. And that's a paper flower with a little piece of metal. This one is a bicycle stamp on top of a book page. Underneath it is a little piece of, it's either sticker or just something that they cut out and put on there, but isn't it shiny and pretty? Behind the book page and stamp is another small piece of paper that, let me see. Yep, that's another small piece of paper that's a little smaller than the ATC. And then right here, this is actually a piece of ribbon that they glued down all pretty. Now, if you're gluing down ribbon, a glue stick isn't always the best way to get that ribbon down. There's a lot of different glues. Personally, I like wet glues for when I'm doing stuff like that, or I will just use paint. So I know that sounds silly, but paint can sometimes act as a glue underneath the items that you're putting down. And we showed you this one with the painty background and the flower with the pretty stuff here. Here, this person has what's called texture paint, okay? Or I mean texture paste, I'm sorry. So what they did is on white, what feels like, here, let me see what it's made out of. Yep, cardstock. Okay, so this one is white cardstock, and then they painted it, they put down probably gesso or something by the way it feels. And then they have a stencil, and they set the stencil down on this corner, and they use texture paste, which is like adding a little bit of chalk into white paint and glue. And there's all kinds of recipes for making it. And then they put over their stencil, ignore the bling for a second, this piece right here, and it's all raised up right there too. And then they put their, behind the two little ladies, there's a piece of paper. It looks like they're sitting on a bench. And then she glued down the bling. Good morning, Laura. I'm doing an elongated view of a bunch of different kinds of ATCs to hopefully inspire folks with the things they have to make some. Oh my gosh, that one was upside down. And because we're sending some kits out today to folks who have never made an ATC before and had never heard the phrase before. So right here we have, and yes, I know my fingers are horrible. Well, it's beyond my anxiety on this one because I actually have some scratches from when I was filling boxes. And it's the little 2x6x4 boxes. Hi, Jean Peter. And so every time I would put something in, I'd scratch myself right there. Oh my gosh, okay. Or if I had to open it back up because I forgot to put something, I would scratch the front of my nail. I mean the top above the nail. All right, so this is fabric, looks like appliques. So 3 little fabric flower appliques. Before they did that, they stamped clouds, and then they put the flowers over the top of the clouds, and then they put shiny little bling. Little single pieces like that. This one's 3-dimensional. They don't always have to be 3-dimensional. And then you have 2 more little pieces of bling. This one, oh, yep, bling. I thought it was a sequin for a second. And then the flower. And that one says, today I choose joy. There's a little ribbon down at the bottom. And she did it where she layered a piece of red cardstock over black cardstock is how she made that one. This one on the ATCs, you'll notice that some of them have rounded corners and some of them are square. Here's a square one, or a rectangular, 90-degree angles or rounded, however you want to say it. So when they make these, they might use different supplies. This might be a playing card, and then the person chose to take their scissors and just curve it. Sometimes people will take something round like this, draw a little line with their pen, and then cut that line. I'm an eyeballer. Some people have little punches that make it round around the corners. So for those of you who were just introduced to punches. So this is a paper flower with a piece of metal, 2 little people. I think these 2 are Tim Holtz people. It's definitely a good time to take a break. I know I'm doing this before getting back to packing. So then we've got the shiny, and this cardstock is pretty thick. So she must have layered paper on top of cardstock. And then there's paper underneath too with her information. Now this one is pink cardstock. And when I keep saying cardstock, some of you might even be saying, what does she mean by cardstock? Hold your britches, I'll tell you. Cardstock is just a thicker piece of paper, often comes in 12 by 12 or 8.5 by 11 inches. And it's just a thicker piece of paper. So when you hold it, it barely bends even when it's longer. Okay, whereas if I was holding something, and there are different thicknesses of cardstock. This is a thinner cardstock, and some are super thick. So when I hold it sideways like this, you can see it wobbles just a little bit. Some cardstocks are so thick, it would barely wobble. And then when it keeps getting thicker, then you call that different stuff. So this one says lemon, orange, lemon, orange, lemon, orange, summer. Isn't it cute? Now, if you're a Hartist and you see some of these and you've like, I've made these a long time ago, that's because if you're a numbers person, I often do things last in, first out. So the last ones that have come in are usually the first ones that go out, because when I put it into the box, the stuff I newly put onto the box will be on top. So for you numbers people, the LIFO method. This right here, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this came off of a cupcake. The little paper shiny stuff that sometimes go around the bottom of cupcakes. And then she obviously either hand cut or has a punch for hearts. And then it's a book page and a little piece of lace. Isn't that fun? And she rounded the corners with a 1/4 inch, or not the 1/4 inch, the smaller one of the corner rounder. This is another lady that was fussy cut for folks. This is one of the Tim Holtz ladies that comes in a little pack, a paper pack. This is a paper flower with a little piece of metal she put in there, a stamp of bingo, and this right here is either a rub-on or a sticker. I don't have any rub-ons handy, but I would totally do that. Hi there, Tina. Oh, hey, Susie. And for those of you who joined late, I am doing that's cute. It says 3 West. See, you can actually use, I don't know if this came from a game, but when you're making ATC cards, you can use game pieces, metal pieces, fabric pieces, paper pieces, stickers. The sky's the limit because it's basically your little piece of art in a small form. And the reason they're called artist trading cards is because when it first started, 2 artists could share their information on the back, and instead of doing business cards, they could share a little piece of themselves in their art with other artists. And they usually are exchanged for free. In the Disabled Artists Foundation, what we do is we use them as a way of saying thank you when people sponsor shipping for Hartists. Now let me show you these 2. Oh, I barely talked about the Holland one. This one's lots of layers. This one's painted in the background. Looks like they used their jelly plate. You don't know what a jelly plate is, just means you haven't gotten one yet. That's a whole nother video all in itself. So this background looks like it was created with a jelly plate. And then that is a little teeny piece of lace on the left side. She fussy cut out a cute little, oh my gosh, is that a duck or a goose? Can someone make fun of me because I don't know? And then there's a windmill that's cut out from, feels like a magazine page. So this is a book page. This is a magazine page. That's a text from a book page. And jelly plate fun with a little piece of lace roughly put on the side. Isn't that just so much fun on this one? I have to tell you, every time I see the fabulous different kinds of art from the different Hartists, I just absolutely love it. So this lady put a butterfly behind the lady. And I shouldn't say this lady because not all Hartists are ladies, but I do know this one is a lady who made this. So there's a butterfly behind the lady. And then there's a flower that's a paper flower. And it's not a real butterfly. It came from a magazine or a piece of paper. And then that's a metal star in the middle. This is ribbon that feels like, what's that one ribbon that one material? Burlap. Okay. And then the back of it looks like she either stamped it or it's pretty scrapbooking paper. Oh, a goose or a duck, right? A deuce or a guck. You read that wrong. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay. I'm like many of you, and I love the eyes. So there's an eye on this one, and you notice that when she put the eye on, you can kind of sort of see book page with that eye. Do you see that? Isn't that cool? Well, here, this is a Sir Walter Scott book because I can just see his name right there, and it's cut out in the shape of a bird in the background. This background is hand painted. And then the hearts, which are over the bird tail here, are layered over the top of another magazine page. You see that? Here you've got the two little peeps, the two people that are fussy cut out. This is a die cut that they use the die on their book pages. One of my favorite things personally is to use punches, and for those who have the die cutting machines, that's a whole nother topic, to do them on book pages, because I think book pages can be everything. It's like, and they're already, well, not always, but usually the right size to put your dies onto without all that extra cutting on my fancy paper, you know. So this one is a die cut, which means that it's just fussy cut out by a machine instead of by human and scissors. This came from a book page. This came from scrapbook paper, only because I think I have that same scrapbook paper. And then on the background here, that's her own paint. Tina, yes, I did get some punches, and it did come from Crafty Mama. I haven't sent all my thank yous out to all the folks with addresses yet. Of all it's not going to list everything that was sent, but for those who mail donations to me or drop off donations to me, I no longer do the thank you videos. I just don't have enough time in the day. But I'm going to be sending out the thank you cards. So yes, I did get the punches from Crafty Mama. Thank you. And the month for punches is either going to be March or April. It'll be one of those 2 months. I'll decide that later. I do need a sip of coffee because I've done a lot of chatting. Not that I don't love them any less, but I'm going to start going through them a little bit faster so you can kind of imagine in your own head, if you're watching this on the replay or watching this now, how they might have made it. And this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different layers on it. How fun is that on scrapbook paper? This one says acceptance. There's fabric, paper, bling, cardstock, and stickers on this one. This one has, it looks fabulous in any direction. Look at that. No, it doesn't go that way. It goes this way. No, it goes that way. No, it goes this way. I'm just kidding. No worries at all. Thank you so much, Tina. I do need to get better at notifying folks when we receive stuff. Right here is washi tape Oh, I said I wasn't going to go into all the details. On this one, a painty paper background, which could have started with a jelly plate or maybe with a brush. And then she layered some circles on top. She has some paper, some washi tape, some thin, what looks like it could almost be tissue paper on there. Here, yep, that's paper bag again. Oh, for the goodness love of the inked up paper bag. Doesn't it look fabulous? So she has the inked up paper bag on here where she clearly crumpled it and then smoothed it back out and then inked the surfaces that stayed atop. I mean, stayed crumpled on the top part. I do too. I love the mixed media they do. This is washi tape right down the middle and then cardstock. That's cool. She even cut it out all fancy with a fancy pair of scissors. You know, those scissors that instead of being smooth on the edges, they have the jaggedy look. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3 layers of paper, inked around the edges of the heart, or it's just was cool that way when she cut it out. And then it's backed on beautiful scrapbook paper. This is cardstock on top of cardstock with cardstock on top of that. And then a little saying that says Rich at Heart. And then her little heart looks to be multiple layers. So she has multiple layers of this little heart. So there's the stamp of the heart in the background, and then she cut out fabric over the top of that. This is ribbon and bling. This is a book page, cardstock on cardstock, washi tape. This is a fussy cutout where it says be happy. How cute is that? And then she's got layers of paper on top of paper on top of paper. This one is very abstract and fun. And I think it's stuck to another one. Hold your britches. Yep. So this one is multiple layers. I do believe, yeah, I can't actually tell on this one with how many layers it is because it's so darn smooth. But this is definitely a collage style with many layers. So here we have, and you can hardly see it, but she glued down some lace over the top, upside down. A glove fitting corset ad. How fun is that? Some bling right here, some book pages, and then pink cardstock, and then the fibers over on the side. So in those who are going to be receiving their kits pretty soon, there are fibers in here as well. Okay, so this one is 3 different images that are fussy cut out, and I don't know how she did it. I would really love to know, but look at her background. How cool. And in person, it's way shinier than you're thinking. That is very cool. So if that paint is your paint, that's just some cool paint. Oh, I know. I love seeing their personalities. Look at this personality. Look at her doodles. Tell me that is not a boatload of fun. So what she did is she took her fine point pen and just doodled away and then put washi tape on the top and bottom, and in the middle of 2 of her circles, she put bling. So again, back to the kit for a second. These 2 brushes, one side is a brush like a paintbrush, and the other side is a fine point using the same ink on both sides. So it's the same color on both sides. And yeah, so you can doodle like that if you want to with the fine points. Okay, this one, she used her punched out a bunch of little circles and drew smiley faces on some of the circles, left some of them as they are. She inked the edges using either ink or a pen on some of the circles, or drew around it after she glued it down, which sometimes happens. It's on cardstock filled with circles. And then in the middle, it says smile. This one is scrapbook paper. And the scrapbook paper is so pretty. She added a little butterfly thing here. She doodled on the page And then at the top there, it says let go, and she put a pin line around the outside of let go. Here you can see that instead of keeping everything linear, she turned it off to the side a little bit. And so don't be afraid. Everything doesn't have to be perfectly centered and perfectly straight. You can keep things straight up and down. You can turn things to the side. You can layer things on 50% or 45 or 60%. You can put your subject, instead of being in the middle, you can put your subject on the right. You can put your sentiment or words or whatever your text is that you cut from whatever you want to cut it from, and you can decorate all the way around it. You can put your words, instead of all being together, you can separate that and draw all around those. This is paint and ink and stickers. And love is, and she wrote out in pen in air, so love in the air. And you can, a lot of people, let me see, like the frames coming all the way around on 2 sides, on 3 sides, on 1 side, and any one side you want. So again, this is your way of being the artist and doing it in whatever order you want to. So now I'm going to go even faster as I show you very quickly all the different ways and styles that people make them. So this one gives me a feeling of Valentine's Day. I probably should sort out the holiday ones and make sure those ones go out closer to the holidays versus always doing first in, last out. And they don't have to be complex. Let's say you're a brand new Hartist and you have hardly any supplies at all. Let me find one with very few. Here's one with very few supplies. She cut out a pair of lips, which can come from pretty much anything. She stamped a little sentiment that says hugs and kisses. And then she drew and colored in the hearts all over the page. How fun is that? And this one is a sticker with a painty background, and she put boo. I should have had that one. I know, right? It makes me want to make ATCs too. I should have had that one out in October. There's another one with googly eyes. Yep, those are real googly eyes. They move. Oh my gosh, look at this cat. So now you're going to look, when you're making your ATCs, you're going to look way outside of just using paint and pens, because it can be anything. This is a leftover ticket. Personally, when I make ATCs, it's whatever I happen to have near me. And so I will make it out of pretty much anything when I'm in the mood to make them. The quest for balance, I like that. And look at her blingy butterflies. Here you have some lace, bling, little number. And she's got lace up here that you can hardly see, but yep, that's real lace. So when you're thinking of ATC cards, you can choose them to be mixed media. Oh, what does that say? Forever and a day. You can choose them to be just oils. You can choose them to be just acrylics, a mixture of all of them, a mixture of some of them, a mixture of fabrics with whatever. Magazine pages. This one is heavy. This one is very heavy. And I actually like to have this one as the sample because this is layered with so many different things, including napkins. Napkins are not out of the question for gluing down. And if anyone has any questions on how to take, there's a napkin. I knew I had one close. How to take a napkin apart. We can show you that as well. Just send a little note in the group. Someone will definitely show you how to do that. You know, I'm in the mood to create too, actually. I want to get as much as I can done because I can't wait to get back to creating and playing. And I still haven't made my Christmas cards. So I have to apologize to everyone in advance. Me personally, sending anyone Christmas cards, it's just not going to happen this year except for my thank you cards. Because the only ones getting Christmas cards are immediate family. And I mean like really immediate family because I just haven't had the time. And I feel bad about that because it's one of my favorite things in the world to create. Oh, look at this right here. So right here, this came from some type of a financial book, right? So it's very thin paper, and it might have come from someone's annual report. And then she has some rub-ons and some, not sure if that's sticker or paper, and then some paper behind it and fabric on cardstock. Some people do them on playing cards. This isn't. This is cardstock with lots of layers on this one. Oh my gosh, this one's so much fun. Isn't that fun? I have a daughter who loves the clover, and so she would absolutely love this one. Just look at all the fabulous personalities, the individuals. You can get a feel of their personality by looking at the card, and that's kind of what you're going for, is you're sharing a bit of who you are or how you feel that day. You know, on some days when I'm creating art, I don't necessarily create art to have a particular design. I will sometimes create it just to get my colors down on paper. This is primarily all fabric. That's a fabric background with fabric leaves, fabric flower, and then I'm not sure if they stitched that yellow on themselves or not. But yeah, I will sometimes just put it down to put color down and then choose something random to be the focal point. But for me, the whole art process was just putting down the color, and the colors representing how I feel. And I'm not like the average person. Red doesn't always mean anger or extreme or whatever. Different colors mean different things to me on different days. And so I do like to paint my emotions out. I do like to create the pain away, maybe is another way to say that too. With these. That lady looks like she could be my aunt. I have an aunt who looks a lot like that lady in her childhood photos. This one says, the first beams of the rising sun. So you can even cut little phrases out of book pages that you like what they say. Some people do sign the front. This happens sometimes, and so you can see that the person initialed the front and put the year. And this is a playing card where the playing card side is really cool, and it originally came from St. Louis, and then they layered over the top of the pretty side of the playing card versus the number side of the playing card. And now we're on the last three. So thank you all for joining me to show you a bit of what ATCs are, some examples, and how you can just bling them up and layer them up. And any one of your ATC kits, grab a magazine to sit right beside you, because to me, magazines can give you the colors you're looking for. Don't just look for the items, also look for the colors and the textures. So when I'm picking out my stuff, I'm not necessarily picking this out because I like the two images on it. I will pick it out because I like the textures and the colors for whatever I'm creating. And then don't be afraid to use pieces of anything in your art, because the way copyright works is not that you can never use it. You just cannot reproduce it. Now, wouldn't this be great for the back of an ATC? Forget the rest of the page. Just look at the picture of the corks. And so you can see all different kinds of things, and it helps you create. And boy, am I in the mood to create right now. But I do have to get packing all the stuff from the auction because all that goes out today. So love and hugs, everyone. Thank you for taking your time and hanging out with us. And if you're watching on the replay, never hesitate to ask questions, either in comments, in the Facebook groups, or directly to me in my email or messenger on Facebook. Take care.